Today on One.
This became a Roadside America attraction.
It's the White House down to the smallest detail, how a local attraction is bringing Washington to Central Florida. Then we're getting all shook up with this Hunka Hunka Burnin Love. And creating the perfect baseball bat, how a family company is hitting the big league one bat at a time. We'll visit their own field of dreams. We've got all that and more coming up on today's show. This is One. Amy Cicero, and welcome to One, a show about the people and places that make Central Florida special. This month we'll be honoring local African American history, but first we're taking you on a tour of one of the most famous houses in America. If you can't make it to Washington, you can still tour the White House. It's got the Oval Office and the president's bedroom to the tiniest detail. And we mean tiny. It's been called the world's largest dollhouse by the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's just one of the exhibits at the President's Hall of Fame in Claremont.
My wife and I, when we got married 55 years ago, decided let's have a purpose. So we chose to create a White House. We made it 1 inch to a foot, so it's a 60-foot model of the White House. And then we also created this attraction here, the Hall of Presidents. The Hall of Presidents is the only hall like it. It's the only attraction like it that celebrates all the presidents and all the first ladies and all the White House stories.
Freedom means the supremacy of human rights everywhere.
Route 27 used to be like Route 66. This was the attraction road. There was always a halfway point between Atlanta and Miami. Everybody stopping to eat and to see all the citrus trees. And this became a Roadside America attraction. And here we get to tell the whole story and get to know the presidents more personal.
Eleanor Roosevelt was the niece of Theodore Roosevelt.
I've been lucky enough to work with 11 presidents and first ladies. And what you find out right away is they're more patriotic than they are political. The whole wonderful thing about the White House is in America, this is the people's house. And every inch of these displays and exhibits are authentic in every way whatsoever, to be able to give you the feeling that you're actually there. You're actually in those rooms. The wonderful thing about the president's allowing us freedom of the house, that we can go in there and photograph, and measuring everything from the top to the bottom and researching each piece that's in there. We take pictures of the room there, then we take pictures of the model, and when you can't tell the difference, then we know you're right.
President Reagan, Gorbachev, and our curator.
We want everybody to leave here with that feeling that they saw not only history, but that they were in the inside looking out, not in the outside looking in.
The White House replica is 50 years old and even helped Steven Spielberg recreate authentic sets in the production of his movie Lincoln. Close to the trendy shops on Park Avenue of Winter Park, there's a forgotten African American community that is among the oldest in the nation. Through the Hannibal Square Heritage Center, some of the area's seniors tell their personal stories about growing up as an African American in the area.
That's the house my dad built and that I was born in. It's 512 West Canton. That's my dad and his mother. My father was born in Goldenrod, Florida. My mother was born in Winter Park, Florida. And I am a native also of Winter Park.
Traditionally, as Afro-Americans, we have not written our history down. We depend more or less on oral stories and sharing. Well, the Hannibal Square Heritage Center came about due to its founder, Peter Shire of the Creole School of Art, as a way to collect the history of this historic African American community. Well, we have population 1880, the population there was, they said, was 500. Winter Park was a respite for wealthy people. And many of these wealthy people came from the North or the Midwest. They needed labor, and so they specifically built an area for African Americans.
This is my mother's wedding invitation, the 14th day of June, 1911. My mother's first job when she was 18, she worked for the Brewers. They cooked and kept the house clean. My dad was a self-taught man. The church that we attend, which is Ward Chapel, my daddy helped to build that. And if you go in there, the altar where you kneel to pray or commune, he designed and built that, and the ceiling of that church, he designed.
Rosie's story is important because it shows how families build and maintain wealth. There were unwritten rules, a protocol, if you will. You know, a certain time of evening, blacks would not go across the railroad track unless they was on some official business. At the drugstore, they had a fountain, and you couldn't sit at the fountain if you wanted to have anything from there. You went to the cashier and made your order, and you got it, and you took it with you. You couldn't go to the theater on Park Avenue, the Colony Theater. That was segregated. When I look back on it, I'm not upset about it or mad about it. It's the way it was. Well, this was really the heart of Hannibal Square. The business part of the community is where we have all the nice shops now. But those used to be businesses operated and were owned by Afro-Americans. But these were our stomping grounds. This is where we played stickball, we played marbles. This is where life took place for us. I'm very glad that I grew up in a close-knit black community.
The Hannibal Square Heritage Center also holds exhibits and art classes for adults and children year-round. The romance of the river cruise is back. The Barbara Lee is the newly renovated dining cruise ship that sails from Sanford, and it's reviving St. John's River cruising with style. We were all aboard to experience the charm of old-style sightseeing in Central Florida.
My parents actually started the first boat that was here back around 1980 or 81, and they sold the business about 12 years ago. Last year, approximately a year ago, that business went out, and my brother, sister, and I started the St. John's River Ship Company, and here we are.
Hi ladies, welcome aboard. Couple of speed bumps there, be careful.
The city of Sanford's done a lot of work lately, restoring the downtown area and bringing people back into this area, and that had a lot to do with us wanting to come back to this location.
The St. John's and Lake Monroe was pretty much the terminus for shipping in Florida at the turn of the century, and as you might know, Sanford is a very historic community, and our entire community developed because of the water. Everyone was real sad when the ship left the community, and of course very, very excited to know that the boat was coming back to the community.
This ship originally was built back in 1986. We've gone through and done a major refurbishment on it, and we decided to name it after our mother, Barbara Lee, who passed away of cancer about a year ago, and she was pretty instrumental in this whole operation. So this was our tribute back to her by naming it the Barbara Lee. A lot of people don't get an opportunity to go out and experience what the St. John's River has to offer here and the nature. And there's a lot of folks that really have very limited access to the waterways out here, and so it's great to be able to let them get out in the sunshine and the fresh air and take advantage of it.
It has a really great vantage point of the St. John's, going up and down the St. John's and seeing the wildlife, and it brings that authentic paddle wheel boat. It kind of harkens back to a bygone time, and people really want to see that, so I think it's very important because it just adds to the overall historical charm and character of the city.
The Barbara Lee cruise ship sails away for lunch and dinner cruises out of Lake Monroe Harbor in Sanford. Coming up on 1, Slip on your blue suede shoes and join us at the Heartbreak Hotel. But first, let's take a look at some nonprofit events and opportunities in our community. I can't help falling in love with this next story. This month's One to Know is Billy Lambert, a businessman by day and a local hound dog by night. He's been impersonating Elvis for 13 years, and he's sure to leave you all shook up.
My goal is to make them believe at some point during the show that they're actually watching Elvis.
Well, I'm gone away, babe, and I won't be back down. I said I'm gone away, babe.
When I was 6 years old, I got into Elvis, and the way a lot of kids get into singing at home, you know, I would don the tennis racket as a guitar, I would have the hairbrush as a microphone, and I'd be singing in the mirror, and I was Elvis. So by the time I was a young man, being Elvis was kind of easy because I'd watched him since I was 6 years old. You know, sometimes I go out with a band and I'm with a 7-piece band and we have a road crew and a sound engineer. So 22,000 stadium to a kitchen in Jacksonville, you name it, and everything else in between I've done. I have about 11 different outfits that I have, and I'm always adding to the collection. So this suit is known as the Aloha suit. And most of the Elvis impersonators that you see will have this in their collection. And it's also one of the most expensive suits because of the sheer amount of stud work. And this is about a $2,000 suit, and it has a beautiful belt with it. And the combination of the two are pretty beautiful. But my personal favorite song, and I've sung it thousands of times and never get tired of singing this song, is Suspicious Minds. And you got to move around on stage a little bit. There's a lot of energy in this song. It's quite a long song. It takes you up, it brings you down. Elvis was so loved and still is so loved to this day. If for several minutes I can give them the feeling that they were an Elvis show that they would have never gone to, or they may have even been to, and I'm recreating it for them, then I feel I've done my job. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Just to show you how popular Elvis is, about 87,000 people filed tax returns as Elvis impersonators in 2010. Graffiti is seen as an eyesore by some and urban art by others. Dexus, the artist, has a passion for mural work and seeing art in some unusual places around the city.
regardless of how beautiful the work is, if nobody asked you to do it, if you're doing it illegally, that's graffiti. Whereas mural art, you can get paid to do it. You know, someone asks you to do something, they say, you know, here, use this wall, or I want this, I want that, and then that becomes a mural. Everyone can appreciate and enjoy graffiti and mural work. The mural on Mills and Colonial was done for a friend of mine. She was selling women's hats and heels, and she wasn't doing that well. So she called me one day and said, hey, I need a sign. Can you come paint it? She went from having 0 foot traffic on a daily basis to about 50 people a day stopping in her store. She did so well that she actually moved locations, but the mural stayed. That mural brings up all the other art in the area because it's the biggest piece there and it's the most central. I like to paint what I seen and what I seen growing up and what I see still now. I look at the beauty in the world. I don't like to look at the struggle and the turmoil. As a testament to that, most murals are done in depressed neighborhoods, and it's amazing the respect and appreciation that the people of the poor community give you. I mean, I get the most praise and the most enjoyment on the faces of the people that live in the areas where we do the work. Where other people would see it as a blight, these people see it as like, look at this, you know, professional artwork that we have right in our neighborhood. Ever since I started doing murals and doing things in the street, people respond so incredibly to the work. Orlando is the city beautiful, and I want to help it be more beautiful. That's one of my main ambitions, is to start doing city projects, underpasses, different things, just doing a lot of work. I try to give people that want to see beauty, more beauty to see. I feel very accepted by the people of Orlando. Murals are for the people, and they do appreciate it.
To see more of his work, visit his website at dexistheartist.com. Coming up, see why one small company in Kissimmee is hitting the big leagues. But first, let's check out some upcoming events from around the area. If you have a story idea, let us know by emailing us at one@ucf.edu. It's got the fans, the excitement, and the thrills. It may not be the Super Bowl, but it's what happens under the Friday night lights in Apopka that brings out thousands of local fans every week in this edition of Central Florida Hometown.
Blue Darter football is on the air. 1520 WBZW.
There's not a lot of Apopkas left. You know, there's not a lot of places where football is important to the community.
Apopka still has that small town community flavor that, you know, I think a lot of people wish they still had.
Get your Blue Darter, hat or visor!
The Blue Darters came into being in the early 1930s. So for around 80 years, we've been pulling for that team.
Apopka High football is a gathering point where people can come together and be one. It's just a real rallying point for a community like Apopka.
When you talk about Apopka football now over the last 13 years, you know, we've been in the state playoffs. So it's almost an expectation of our folks to, you know, see us in the playoffs, to, you know, have good seasons.
Live here at the Citrus Bowl where tonight the championship for District 8A will take place.
We don't have a lot of guys that people consider Division I players, but I wouldn't trade them for anyone. The heart and the character they've shown all year, and the brotherhood and the belief. I'm very blessed and humbled to be a part of it.
Touchdown, Blue Darters.
Oh, we did it! We did it! What a game! Look at the crowd! Look at the crowd! Look at the crowd!
To see the community get behind them and support them and love on them and brag on them, these are memories that are never going to go away from them.
He's not raising football players. He's raising young men. Winning the state championship, or however well we do, is not the end of what they're doing, but only the beginning of what they do.
We use football as a vehicle to teach life's lessons. We talk a whole lot more about off the field and having character, integrity, and honor, and those type of qualities than we do about blocking and tackling and winning.
Apopka High School is the only public high school in Orange County to win the state championship twice. What's the connection between Major League Baseball and a Kissimmee family woodworking company? It's the handcrafted bats. Kissimmee Sticks has been making baseball bats the old-fashioned way for years, and as we gear up for the start of Major League Baseball season, we look to see how this true family business is hitting a home run.
Baseball is just, it gets in your blood.
It's skill, it's mental, it's physical.
It's not just a game, it's an art.
Custom-made wood bats, it makes a difference in the ball player's psyche.
Put a lot of love and time into these bats. Kissimmee Sticks is a wood baseball bat manufacturing company where we make custom, personalized wood baseball bats.
I'm a wood worker, mess with the wood, and it just kind of fit. We had a cabinet shop and all our woodworking tools. We just grabbed a chunk of lumber and turned the bat, and here we are.
I was about 9 years old when my dad started Kissimmee Sticks. It blew up probably a year and a half later. Got in the major leagues. Pretty exciting as a little kid.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's, you know, it's in your blood.
I started playing Little League. My dad coached fall, spring, with some summer leagues. He was always a coach.
Dads need to be more involved with their kids, and baseball is a real good way to do it.
Back in the early 90s, tons of major leaguers were swinging Kissimmee Sticks.
Barry Bonds used our bat to beat Mark McGwire. I think it was the '96 home run derby.
Dante Bichette was a Kissimmee Sticks swinger. He was a big leaguer with the Rockies, and he hit a very significant home run with Kissimmee Sticks bat, and it got put into the Hall of Fame.
Kissimmee Sticks got sold in the mid-90s.
We sold stock in the company, and the Major League ball players thought that they wanted to have controlling interest, so I let them have it. But then they eventually sold it again.
After that, we were pretty much done with bats for a little while.
Now we got it back.
The advantages of a homemade, handmade bat versus a manufactured bat or a factory-made bat is, you know, you're getting the attention to detail. I mean, all our hands are going to be on these bats from start to finish. We're going to feel it, we're going to swing it, as opposed to a factory thing. They're pushing it through the line, cutting it up, dipping it, sending it out.
I like working with wood, you know, and growing up with it. It just seemed like too good of a thing not to, you know, not to keep up with.
I'm, I guess, old-fashioned, but I think you build your family's business for your family, and you pass it on, and they pass it on, and they pass it on.
It's one of the best jobs in the world. You get to come out and make baseball bats with your buddy and your dad.
We've got a few guys on the Rays, we've got a few guys with the A's, Dodgers, Astros. We're getting them back out there and trying to get them swinging the sticks again.
Little leaguers are just as important to me as the big leaguers. So you get a 10-year-old kid that got his name on his bat, and it's rewarding.
Don't get the ball, get through it on the same. Baseball is America's pastime, and for us to have a family business, Mr. Romack and Newly, a small business in America, I just feel blessed to be a part of it.
Here's a fun fact. The bats are made out of northern white ash because of its strength. We leave you with a recent performance by Billy Lambert as the king of rock and roll. I'm Amy Lo Cicero. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.